So guys, in this video I'm just gonna go ahead and actually replace this back. I really don't want this to just be sitting around and waiting for what, right? Because we just actually did this job, so might as well go ahead and actually replace it. Yeah, here it is, right here. Okay, you have to be kind of light to do it. Now we have to replace all the fluid that was back here. I have the fluid saved, and I created like a nice little drain container, so I'm actually going to just be able to pour everything right back. So this is brake fluid. By the way guys, this is an oil can and it has been completely cleaned out, and I actually been using it to put gas in there, so it actually completely cleaned everything out. So there's no residual oils that perhaps will mix with the brake fluid to make something worse. There's none of that. So I'm just basically pouring back what was in here to begin with. So we're good on that. And of course, any imperfections, that little net catches, which is a good thing. So we're good on that. Just put this bottle here. So we're gonna continue removing other stuff on this engine. There's so much to remove, so we're just gonna go ahead and actually just start removing. So we're gonna remove some of these wirings. We're just gonna get some of that stuff unplugged, because you just need to do that. For wiring like that, it's actually got this little gray connector here. You have to kind of like snap it back some. Oh, we're messing with the wrong one. Snap it back some like this. It's like you pull it out and then you have to press on it, and then sometimes you have to go forward and then back, and then it disconnects. As you could see, that wire is coming from here and then here, right there, like that. We have other sensors and whatnot that connects back here, so I'm gonna press down on that, pull that right out. Now we have glow plug wires. We just pull those out. I'm gonna be actually replacing the wiring harness too, so you know, but they do need to come out. So by the way, this wiring harness is actually attached with a bolt that's actually right behind the turbo, so we could only get to so much of it. But there is a glow plug connector, which is very hard to get to, but I just got it, so that's a good thing. I'm pressing down on two sides. That's hard to get. Some of them come out easy and some of them just don't. So this pipe is in my way as well. This one here. Some of these other ones, obviously, that's good. We could just put that like that. So I'm actually going to have to cut some of them. Not the wires, but the clips. To give myself some wiggle room. So we have one that bolts onto the engine, but this is too small. This is E-sockets. That's too big, obviously. It looks too big. Yeah, it's too big. It kind of get it, but not really. Okey-doke. Around all over the place. So the customer actually decided to put a better looking injector. This is a good used one that I've sold. I know like now it doesn't look very clean, but I'm going to be saving this job for tomorrow. But as you can see, this is a pretty nice fuel injector. What I want to do is, before you know all this cleaning stuff, I want to put the injector in so that no crud is going to be falling inside, because we don't want that. And the other thing that we don't want is we don't want stuff to fall down in where the bolt goes, because, and actually I'll have to clean the bolt hole anyways. That's actually a new bolt that I'm going to be using. You don't want to reuse the bolts at all. As you can see, the old one is like, well, actually I got the old one right here. You can see there's the old injector with the old bolt. That fork is going to be used, but this injector is just full of crud and stuff, and there's a good chance it's causing other problems, so we're not going to be using it. But that's just going to be plugged in over here like that. That's it, because we don't want no contaminants. This wire is in the way, so I'm going to go ahead and unbolt it. And I just dropped that little bolt. I'm going to need some needle nose pliers to get it out. No, that's not going to cut it. I have some bigger ones. Yeah, that wiring harness goes right underneath the turbo there, so I'm just gonna remove some of these other stuff. Some of this is now where I'm gonna be removing the intake manifolds. Excuse me, sometimes I lose my train of thought. So that's some of the clips. Lock it up. This is everything has to do with fuel and some of the fuel brackets. So that's a little loose, so I'm actually gonna put this bolt right back. Because I'm actually gonna replace the harness. So some of that other stuff needs to really come up. So I just have to do a lot of tasks that are just all over the place, because there's really no other way about it. There you go. So I just got this connector loose. This is the EGR connector, and as you can see, the wiring harness that I'm gonna replace, and it actually crawls all the way underneath the EGR. Okay, and then there's another one that gets plugged in over here. Okay, so this might make my job a little bit easier if I loosen this one up. I gotta press two of them at the same time. Location is not ideal. There's really no other way about it. That's a little toughy. We'll come back to that later. So we need to cut that one. So this little one is zip tied to this. So we just cut that loose right there and just disconnect this. Disconnect it. Of course, you got to take this little gray connector, prop it up like that, just slightly, then press it down, remove it, and then basically slide this out of the way. Actually, I just learned something. First of all, there's like no tabs to really press. If there was, this would actually unlatch easier, so you have to kind of push your screwdriver in to prop this thing up a little bit to get it loose. So you could just kind of slightly do it like this, and then if you get lucky, you could pop it open. But an ideal situation is you need like two thin screwdrivers where you could place them right in there so they could separate those connectors like this. I'm separating it, but it doesn't want to go. Just, that's what they're really holding on to. It's like just by that. And I'm sure they're very brittle, so you got to be like a watchmaker. So I got them propped up. Now I just want to have some leverage and push this thing up. There it goes. Finally popped up. Now you can pull it out. But I'm sure there's probably a little tool that's designed to spread them apart, and I don't have it. Oh, so that one's like falling apart some, which means I could just get in there, pop it up. Yeah, so that worked. I'm getting whole new set of wiring in here because there was a mouse that was living here, so it chewed up a lot of wires. So that's not a good thing. Okay, so now I'm going to get back to removing a lot of other stuff. So that one will not do. So that's a bracket. I hope you guys could really see this. So I'm going to get another box box will have to do with all the parts that's non-fuel related. This is fuel related. I'm just gonna put it right there. So that's a bigger one that goes all the way through. Throw it out the side. I'm just gonna throw that in there. Try to remove as much of these bolts as I can while I have access to them, but really what I will really need is to remove the turbo to get to everything else. But slowly but surely we're going to get there. So here's another long one. It's even longer, that goes in the front, which goes in that the thermostat. Where's my rubber mallet when I need one? Disconnected, so doesn't take that much. So here's a thermostat. It's nicely in there. I'm going to put it in a little Ziploc bag. Along with one very long bolt, because that bolt goes through the thermostat. Those little ones, they're all about the same size, so I'm not really worried about them. So that bracket should be good. This should be good, but this here needs to come out, so that's a bigger one. So for that to come out, I gotta pull the vacuum pump out. And just when I'm thinking, you know, maybe I could leave some things on here, I can't, because I can't get to the bolts. That's how the bolts are. Everything's just in the way. And then again, faced with another one. It's like, to remove that, you gotta do that. Then to do that, yeah, you gotta disassemble a lot. Okay, that's another big one. This is the EGR. Also got to do that. Gotta get some of these hoses off. Now it came to that time where we have to remove them. Yep, looks like more stuff that needs to come out over here. So that's that one I have to unsnap. How are you supposed to do something that's in the back? The only way I could think of, I don't know, something like maybe like this. Yeah, look at that. Who would have thought? I'm gonna use a can opener for paint to actually pull some of this stuff out. So now the rest of this wiring is hiding behind this oil container, so that's going to be done for later. Okay, so we just have to keep going, all right. So this pipe is kind of strong. Okay. We're gonna get into this pipe. Get this clamp out. Okay. A little bit more breathing room. Okay, so now we're gonna remove the one for the EGR. So this oil container, and now I'll move it right there. Put this in that spot. Okay, some of those I'm not gonna have to remove, so I'm trying to do as much as I can to where once I remove it, at least I don't have to really mess with it, if you know what I mean. They could just remain where they're at. Hopefully this jar comes out. These things usually are so stuck. This one's no different. Man, you would think this would get easier. Just some of the stuff is just, man, it's just everywhere. Last time I had to just remove this whole EGR assembly, and I may have to do the same thing, just like this part, that part right there. But there's bolts that go all the way around. And it's hard to get to those other ones because they're like, you have to literally pull this whole thing out, and I really don't want to do that this time. So a lot of this stuff is plastic. There's really no room to really pry it.
My name is Serge Zimaleta. I'm 37 years old, and yes, I experienced success after buying my first home for cash. Back in 2011, I was broke, but I learned to solve problems on my own. Now, I'm helping others to solve their problems. I know what pitfalls to avoid to stay profitable in business. Need motivation to be more successful in your life? Do you have Sprinter expedite or business problems? Then subscribe. Let's find creative solutions to your problems. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of my helpful videos.